All right, I'll see if I've got some sound, and I do. And we're going to finish off where we left last night, BISS 1123. And of course, we took a look at a data warehouse, Northwind Traders. And I also referred you to chapter 4, which you need to read. That's in the Solve It text that covers database management systems and how database is put together, a table, etc. And so we're going to work today on case number 1, and that's the Northampton case. And when you listen to these screencasts, you ought to have your textbook with you. And you're going to see that we have chapter 5, the database management software cases that start at page 149. We'll end up doing 6 of those, the first 6, and that starts over on 149. Now, I want to show you something in terms of one of the processes we'll use. As I mentioned last night, we have this concept called a data warehouse, and that contains one or more databases or a collection of tables that could essentially constitute more than one database. And we also talked about the idea of a data mart, and that is a small, very specialized database. And so it's just like we go find the stuff we need in a warehouse. That's basically what we'll do. And of course, the 4 components of a database are the tables, that's where we store everything. Forms, those are objects that are used to input data to the table. Then we have queries, and those are objects that we use to get data from the table that we want. And then finally, reports. Okay? So that will get us started. And of course, this is week 6. And on October 5th, which was yesterday, you had 2 quizzes. Now, we've been working ahead on the Excel cases, so you should have those all uploaded. And as we work through the database cases, I will just simply say, yeah, upload it. This is access case number 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Now, as I said, the pace will probably slow down a bit because you basically, well, a lot of you probably don't have much experience working with a database, so that'll be something that that you'll want to think about. Well, not to think about, but be patient with yourself as we work through the process. Okay? Now, I'm going to pop up here for just a minute, and I wanted to alert you to something on the 26th. Okay? I will be doing a pre-recorded session because I have a doctor's appointment. Yeah, I know. But, you're gone for games and stuff, so, hey, none of us are ever around all at the same time, are they? All right. So I would strongly encourage you to go back, review the video from last night. It's posted over here in the announcements. As I said, screencast part 1. And today I'll record this, and this will be screencast October 5th, part 2. Let's go to the files. And we're going to do some work. Excuse me. My voice just cracked. We'll want to go down here to the Solve It student files. Okay. Now notice there's a solution file, but I have it hidden so you could see it only because I'm in instructor view, not student view, which is okay. Now we're going to download this Solvit 6.0 student files. All right. Now I'm going to diminish my browser and let you see my really nasty desktop. Look at all of that stuff. Isn't that nasty? I really need to go and get some folders. And you're going to see a thing down here called Solvit Chapter 5. Okay? That's an Access database. Let's open it up. And you'll want to enable the content, and you'll want to save it as, today we're going to work on Chapter 1. So I would just call it Access Case 1. Okay? Download it to your desktop. Especially if you're working in the lab, you've got to get it in your desktop. Otherwise, it won't. They'll be treated like a system file, and you'll lose everything. So save it to your desktop. Okay, I've got it on mine. All right, then click Enable Content. Now, as I mentioned last night, we're going to be working through a series of cases, and you can see right here all of these tables, and you'll see they refer to different cases. So for example, case number 1. Here's Northampton. All right, and these are the customers, the friends, and the hardware. I think these are some tables that are used in some of the tutorials. Navigating around Access is, as you can see, the toolbar looks a whole lot like the toolbar for Excel. All right. So we're going to go over here and we're going to take a look, and let's make sure we have all the objects accounted for. So on the top, click All Access Objects, and you'll see we have some tables. We have all of our tables here. Now, this really constitutes a data warehouse for the simple reason it has tables that could be put into several, well, basically 7 or 8 different, well, there are tables here for every single access case. There are 12 access cases. We're only doing 6. And the bottom line, folks, is this: if I pull everything out for a particular case and put that into a database, I can export these into it. Then I can have 12 different databases. So this we're treating like a warehouse, okay? And we're going to come in and we're going to run some queries. Now, the very first case, as I mentioned, is Northampton. Okay, that's the Northampton case, and that's Northampton Abrasives case 1 over on page 149. All right, now let me address something right off the bat. I always have some situations where folks don't have access on their computer. If you have a Mac, you don't have access on your computer. You may not have it on your regular Windows computer. So you'll need to use Access in the lab at Bailey, or borrow somebody's computer that has access, or you may have to add it on there. I think the university will provide you an Office package, and you might want to call the IT people about that, but I'm not sure. So don't, I wouldn't want to mislead you in that sense. But please don't send me an email and say, I don't have access, I can't turn in my work. Don't do that, okay? The assignments are due when they're due. We do these way in advance, okay? And because I don't feel like you have too many excuses. And the bottom line is you can always go to Bailey Lab. It's open in there from 8 or 9 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. So you may want to do that. And of course, when I have physical class, might be a not bad idea there, or virtual class. Well, we have one class a week, so basically this is kind of like a virtual class. I'm just continuing on the screencast from last night. Don't think that I'll go, oh no, use something else. No, it's got to be Access, okay? That's just part of the deal. We have a lab, it's there, and you can make use of it. And on Thursday nights, except for the 26th, I'm there. And I'll pre-record something for you anyway, okay? Now, let's go over here to Northampton, and we'll find it. This is case number 1, and let's just go ahead and open it up. And I'm going to take the shutter bar and close it over here so you can see the whole thing. All right. Okay. Now, here's what we've got. We have a table, and it has ID, the name of the company, the address, the department, the last order, etc. Now, these Access cases are just like the Excel cases, and they're word problems. And now you look at there at page 149, you'll see they start to tell us about Northampton and braces. Okay, tell some information about the company and what they do. Then they start to build us up to the point where they say, okay, we want a comprehensive database. We have a protagonist for our story, Luisa Delgado, and they were doing things by paper and pencil, and they decided to get a laptop that had Access. Now, if you look at the middle of page 151, you're going to see the important fields for the prototype system are, and they list them all out. Okay? I have those here. I have the ID. Okay? The company, the address, the city, the state, the zip code, the last name and first name. These are the contact people, the department they work in, and when they last ordered something from us. Okay? Now, just as we did last night, we'll take a peek downstairs. We'll go down and take a look at the design level. This has a primary key. It's called an auto number. An auto number means it just, every time we add a record, there's a new, it just goes to the next number. So for example, this has 25 cases loaded right now. If we start to fill out case 26, we already have that auto number in there. Then we have a company. That's a text file. And we have how many fields are in it, the size of the field, the number of characters. Same for address, city, state, zip. Okay. The last name, the first name, the department, and the last order. Now, they begin to give us the tasks for the database at the bottom of page 151. And there's 7 tasks, and then those go on over to the top of 152. Okay? Now, we're going to do a little bit of table building, and we're going to focus on that. Okay? So, they ask us to complete the table structure and to include the information desired by Delgado. So basically, we've populated this table. Now, the authors in the skeleton file typically will ask you to add some other things in. And we've got, They have some things like product group that they want added in. And let's see, spouse, the name of the spouse, the contact person. And I'm not going to mess with that, but I am going to add, we want to add the product group and the spouse name. And let's go ahead and add product group. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Simple. Click on design. And under here, we're going to put all caps product group. Now they have these underscored. Group. And we're going to make that a text. You'll notice on the order date, last order, that's a date and time format, right? And we'll do a little bit of work here. As I said, we'll slow down considerably because you have so little experience with that, with databases. So I understand that, and I take that into account. And that's why we kind of just go slow. Now, if we look at the text, okay, we're going to see that they have a thing for the spouse name, and I'm going to skip that, okay. And they also have a thing, I think, about title, and I'm not going to mess with that. All right. What will happen is we'll need to create a field, and we would just be filling in a bunch of data. And there's really no need. The product group, though, is important, okay? And they give us some information there that the products are, and this is in the middle of page 151. Northampton Abrasives products are classified into 3 major groups: grinding wheels, that's a G, sandpaper, S, other refinishing supplies, 0. And then within each group, there are up to 99 subgroups, S01 to S99. Order patterns are coded as increasing, decreasing, okay, or stable. We have the product group, and I'm going to take product group and I'm going to move it up here. And we got the product group, and let's see what else we want to do here. And then we've got the last order. Now, for the product group, we're going to create a lookup table. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to the data sheet view. I'll say save the table. Yes. Now, we're going to go back into design view. And let's see if we've got the, there we go. And the product group. And then they also want us to know the trends in terms of the sales. So we're going to add another field. So we'll go back to design. And right under last order, we're going to put order pattern. Underscore pattern. Okay. and we'll make that text. Now the order pattern is increasing, decreasing, or stable. Okay? They say each client company is assigned a 5-digit identification number. We really don't need that. One with the auto number will be fine. Okay? And there's just no point. You could if you wanted to, but there's really no point. The auto number makes sure, all right, that we have what we need. Now, before we do any other things, we're going to take what we have in this and we're going to do a little bit of work here. Now, I'm going to start with the zip code file. Now, click on zip, okay? And that really should be zip code. So I'm going to rename it to zip underscore code. Okay. And if I come down to the bottom, I'm going to see a thing called field properties. When we create a table and we create columns or fields within them, also known as attributes or dimensions, okay, we want to have the data coded properly. We want to have it inputted properly. So I've got zip code. Now I'm going to come down to a thing called this line down here called the input mask, and I'm going to click on it. Okay, and once I do, I'll see a little infinity button, a little blue button with a little button with the 3 dots. I'm going to click here, and we'll save the table. And we're going to be using the input mask wizard. Now we do this for a simple reason. We want the data inputted in a particular way, one way, okay? And so we're going to come down here to zip code, and they're going to show us an example. Okay, and we can even try it. And I'm going to put in zip code for OBU 74804. And if they have, you know, if they have a 4 digits, and let's just assume they have, like, say, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the zip code plus 4. Okay. And they don't have a short zip code. They just have this one particular type. So we'll click next, and the placeholder character, it'll be the underscore, and we're good. We'll click finish, and there you see. Now I'm going to go back up to the datasheet view. When it does, it'll ask me to save the table. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come over to the zip code, and what you'll see is we have some zip codes there. Okay, that will just make sure that when we create a record that we're good to go. And we're going to do that. We're going to create record number 26, so you get to see what this looks like. Okay, and this will be Kruger. The Kruger company. You see the auto number already generated right here. And they are at 666 Elm Street. And they are in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And the zip code is, well, I've moved this back here, is 74804. And the last name, of course, is Kruger. the first name is Freddie. And Freddie is in the head office. And we don't do a product group yet, but we're going to put our last order, and we'll get the little pop-up button, and we'll go back to 2009. We could just also enter it, but we'll do it like this. In fact, it'll probably be, forget that. Now let's put in, we'll put in a date. Let's call it 7, just like the one above, 20/2009. Okay? And now we're ready to click on the table, and we're going to save it. Okay? Now, the only thing we haven't done so far, we have 2 pieces of this table. We haven't inputted the order pattern, okay, nor have we inputted the product group. We're going to create a lookup table to do that. Okay? In other words, a little drop-down menu that helps us input the data. So I'm going to leave this up here for a minute, and I'm going to click Create. Table Design. And I want to make sure I can go back to Northampton. I'll go back to the other table. And we're going to call this product. We're going to make a product. I'll make this all caps. Product ID. And it's going to be an auto number. Then we're going to have the product group. I need to put a underscore product and ID. Then we'll have product group. Okay. And we'll click on this. And we're going to go to the data sheet view. Now I can click on the tab, or I can go right up here to the view. And when we go to the data sheet view, the product group is going to be text. So we'll make sure that we have that click there. And we're going to click, and this is the data view, and we'll do that. Let's save the table, yeah. And we're going to call this product table. Or we're going to call it product underscore group. Okay. And we'll say click OK. And it's saying, they're yelling at us because we don't have a primary key. So let's put cancel. And how we create a primary key is we click right here, and then I can right click it and add, or I can click on that field and just click the icon up here. Okay. Now we're cooking. You first must save the table. Yes, we'll save the table, and we're going to call it underscore group, product group. All right, now I have product group, and we'll move these out so we can see everything. And the product group is going to be, we have grinding wheels. So we're going to put, product group would be G, I'll put grinding wheels. And that's our first product group. The second product group they mentioned there is sandpaper. Now, we could, if we wanted to, in this product group table, we could also add a product like G1, G2. There in the middle of the page, they talk about the group, there are 99 subgroups. So SO1, sandpaper, SO1 would be sandpaper, the first one. S99 would be the 99th product within the group. But we're just going to identify the product groups, okay? And we got sandpaper. In fact, that should be S. Okay? And I'm messing this up here. We're going to call this product group G. And we've got GS. And O. Now, we're going to go back down to the design view, and we're going to create a thing called product underscore group. No. Underscore group underscore description. And that'll be group underscore description. That's text. I'll move that so you see it. Because we're going to have a description. Now that you'll see what we're doing here in just a minute. And that's text. So we'll go back up to the data sheet view and we'll save the table. Now we didn't describe the product group, but under G we're going to put grinding wheels. All right. And then on S is sandpaper. And then on O is other refinishing supplies. Now we're going to go up here to the design. Okay. Now, let's go back up to the top. And now we have our table. That's called product group. We have a product ID, and that we used an auto number, generated a new number. As I mentioned in the first lecture, when we introduced database management systems, and a critical component is that you have unique records. Every record should be unique. And the way we do that is we use a primary key. And we use something like auto numbers to ensure that that record can't be duplicated. So I'm going to close this. I will save it. And now we're ready to do a little bit of magic. Now we're back here to the Northampton table, okay? And I'm going to right click it and I'm going to go to the design view. All right. And here on the product group, I'm going to click product group. And if you come down to the field properties, you're going to see this little jewel here. Okay. Lookup. You come to the lookup and you're going to see a thing called display control. Click it, and we're going to choose a combo box. And the first line is the display control. It's a combo box. The row source type is a table or query, and then you'll come to a thing that says row source. Okay, and when you click there, you'll get this little infinity button, or you get a drop-down menu. Either one you use is fine. Okay, and we could scroll through here and find product group. And we'll go into and we'll click yes. And now what we're going to do is run a query. Now I showed you about queries. We're going to run a query that lets us populate the product group. Okay, so I'm going to get the product group and the product group description. I'm going to run the query and it will show us what we're looking at. Okay, and we'll close that off. We'll save it. And then we're going to go back up. And well, before we do, we have one bound column. The column count will be 2. And the column widths will be, we're going to put 2 inches, colon 2 inches. So pardon me, 2 inches, semicolon 2 inches. And we'll go up top and it'll ask us to save that, and we'll say yeah. Now we're going to come over to the product group and we're going to click here and you're going to see a menu. I want to show you something. The reason that we used the 2 fields, and I'll open this up, is this. We know what's going to get recorded is the first thing we did, but I know it's grinding wheels, it's G. I'll come down here and it's sandpaper. I'll come down here and it's other. And we'll just do this, grinding wheel. Now we do this in order to make sure we input the data correctly. Okay. And let's see what we did. Grinding wheel. Now we're just filling these out. Sandpaper, other. It's called a drop down. The lookup table feeds this field. And basically we run a query and we pull what we want. And what shows up is just the product group, although I can click there and I can see what the G stands for. And this is what they call it it resolves it for us. So I've got those. And remember now, if I want, I can come in and I have product description. I could alter that product group table, okay, to include like G1 through G99, or S1 through S99, or O1 through O99, just as the author suggested we could do it. We're not going to do it, but with a lookup table we could, and we could go back and modify the product group. And in addition to the group number and group description, we could put we could add a column called product, and that would list everything that's all the grinders. So if I wanted to put another column over here that says product, I can do that. Okay. And there's Freddy Krueger's company. And we've done that piece now. Now, what we want to do is scroll over here a little bit. And the product group, we'll move this over because we don't have that much space. And then we have the last column. You said, well, Dr. Harmon, could I go ahead and create a order pattern table to populate that? Yeah, that is exactly what we would want to do. This helps us establish primary keys, lookup tables, help us establish the integrity of our data, especially the referential integrity, which we'll talk about a little bit. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to diminish this down, and I'm going to click Create, and a table design, and I'm going to have we're going to have order underscore pattern underscore. We're going to call this oh, I need to turn the caps lock back on. And that will make that an auto number. And then that's not order pattern ID, it's order pattern underscore ID. Okay. Then we're going to put the order pattern that'll be text. I need to spell that. And then we're going to have order underscore pattern underscore description. Say, oh, I see what we're doing now. This allows us to populate the table with the right with the data, and I can click on that drop down menu. It'll tell me what I'm inputting, what each of these symbols mean exactly. So we got that done. Let's go back up to the data sheet view. So you want to save the table? Yes. And we're going to call this order pattern underscore pattern. Now we'll cancel this because we didn't do a primary key. Let's make that order pattern ID as our primary key. Now a primary key helps us make certain that every record is unique. And it gives us a way to link tables. This order pattern ID in this table called order pattern is what we call the primary key. But if I take this and I link it into another table, order pattern ID becomes what we call a foreign key. And then we have the tables linked. Okay? Now, we'll go back up here. We'll save the table, and we're going to call it order pattern. Order underscore pattern. Now let's go ahead and move these on out here. Let's stretch these out, the fields. And we have order pattern, and this is going to be, we're going to put them increasing, okay, increasing, decreasing, or stable. So we're going to put I, and that would be increasing. And notice we see the order pattern ID number 1 shows up. And then we have D, and that's decreasing. And notice the 2 that just appeared in the second row. It's called an auto number. And then we have S. You'll see the 3 that's there, called stable. Okay? And we can close that now. We'll save the changes. Now I'm ready to do a lookup for the order pattern. So I'm going to click on the tab here. I'm going to go down to the design view. And on order pattern, I'm going to click order pattern. Now I'd have the general properties, but I'll click the lookup tab. And I'm going to click combo box. And they say the display control is a combo box. The row source type, it's a table or a query. We're good there. And it says row source. Okay. Last time we clicked the little down menu. This time we're just going to click the little button with the infinity. And it takes us there to do the query. And we want to find the order pattern query. There it is. We'll click add. And we're going to do this. We're going to get the order pattern and the order pattern description. And we're going to run that, and it'll show us what it's going to look like. And we'll close that off, and we'll say, yeah, we want to save it. You'll notice after we've done that, it shows us the SQL in the row source. Now, we'll go back up to the view. Wait a minute, we're not ready to do that. Forget that. We've got column count is 2. And the column widths, I'm going to make that 3 inches, colon, 3 inches. And we'll go back up to the top here. And we'll save the table. Now, we're going to scroll over here on order pattern. And we'll click, and there's our drop-down menu. Now, because we chose both of those, I can scroll over here and see what does I mean. Okay, and the same thing with D or S. Okay, and we can populate these. A little bit tedious. And just for sake of argument, I'm going to make the rest of them all the same. Yeah, I'm just kind of going at it randomly. Now, in the real world, you want to make sure you get the right one. That's why you have the primary key in that table. And use the auto number. And we're just coming up above here. For each one, we fill them in with the drop-down menu. If we're not sure what it means, we can scroll across, like on this one. Pretty simple. I just scroll across. I see, oh, okay, D is decreasing. And we got stable, we got increasing. You can tell this is exciting. This is just as exciting for me as it is for you. Trust me. I've got the order pattern now. Okay. And we'll save that. Now, before I go any further, I think I saw a table in here called products. I'm going to click the shutter open, and I'm looking over here, and I see orders. I see a thing called products, a table. Let's open that up and look at it. Yeah, these are for another case, as I thought they were. All right. Now we've done step 1. Step 2, I'm at the bottom of page 151. We've done step 1 and step 2. And step 3, we'll skip that. You know, we're not going to put in the spouse's name and all that stuff. For print and a listing of the entire table. Now, what we would do here is we're going to generate a report. I'm going to close the shutter back here for a minute. And I'm going to close the table. Okay, now you see the order pattern. We'll move this over a little bit. And we'll close the table. And I'm going to click open the navigation pane. And I'm going to click create. And I'm going to come over here and find the report wizard. Okay. And I want the table called Northampton. And there's all of our fields. And he wants a report of all of the records, but only include the following: company, city, client, first, last names, and last order date. So we're going to get the company, click and add it over. Then we're going to get the city, click there, and we'll add it over. And the client first and last name, so we'll get the first name of the client, and then the last name of the client, and the last order date. Okay? And we'll click next. And we can do some grouping if we care to. We could group these. If you look at the fields up here, those company, city, first name, last name, those are what we call dimensions, characteristics, attributes. The last order is a date. So that creates a fact. Okay? So I'm going to organize these by the last order. And we've got, and notice it says we can do it by month. We have grouping options. We can do it by the month, by the quarter, by the week, by the year. And we're going to we might miss it. So we're not going to do any grouping. You can see let's try normal. We'll click OK. And we'll click next. And we want to list the company name alphabetically. We'll go next. And we're going to put it in a stepped portrait style. Click next. And we're going to call it Northampton Case 1. Finish, and there's our report. Okay, now let's move the shutter back a little bit. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And we'll talk about working with reports. Now, when I did the first lecture, when we talked about reports, you know, they're nasty, hard to work with. This came out okay because we had a limited number of fields, okay? And we had them grouped by the last time they ordered. Now, I'm going to click up here, a thing called the layout view. And then I'm going to click last order, okay? And I'm over here, and I want to put them in a descending order. Well, descending order. Now here's a moment where we have a choice. We can put these in ascending mode, which means we'll start with the very first order and then come down to the current date, or we can start the current date and go backwards. It depends on what we're after, okay? And I'm concerned also that I might be missing something. So I'm going to click on the design view. Pardon me. I'm going to click on the layout view. I'm sorry. And if you come over here, you're going to see a little button called on the right called Add Existing Fields. Okay, and I'm going to get the order pattern. Okay, now this is the part that gets a little sketchy. And we'll do the layout view again. And now let's go up to the report view and see how it looks. And so you can see now we've added a little bit more information to this, okay, by the last order and the order pattern. Now we can see the dates for the last order. And if we really want to do this, we'll go ahead and take the last order. We can take the we go back here to layout view. Now we'll take the company. I know what we'll do. We'll take city and we're going to move it over. Okay. And then we can move company over a little bit. And then we can move these over. I'll move Shawnee. We'll move the cities over a bit. You say, what are we trying to do? Well, we're going to take last order and try to move it over here. Let's not do that. Let's just leave it as it is. And this shows us the last order and the order pattern. And that's not too bad. You can see these fields. This can get a little bit clumsy, but we add that. Now I have some information. I know who ordered most recently, and is it stable, increasing, or decreasing? Okay. So we've basically done. Now, to print this, I would just simply, I'm in the form view, and I can just click, and I can print preview and print it. So let's see what it looks like in print preview. It's just like a Word doc. I've got one page. Actually, I have 2 pages here. Now, you don't have to print, okay? I can just, once it's here, it's here, okay? And so we're going to close it off, okay? And I'm going to close the print preview, and I have and we'll be done with it. And I'll save the changes, and we're good. So we've done, and you'll see Northampton case 1. Now there's the report we just generated. There's the icon. There's a report. Okay? So far, so good. So we've done 1, 2, 3, and 4. Don't actually try to print out the thing. Just, create it. And it says print all the records in the table, but okay, which we've done. And indeed, we even added in the order pattern, which made a lot more sense. We'll open this back up, and you'll see how nicely this came out. Now we've got something to talk about when we call on these people. Hey, I noticed you're increasing your order. You're a great customer, blah blah. Or is there something we can do? Kind of like you're stable, and we really appreciate your business. Is there something else we can do to help you and thus help us? Isn't that nice? That's the way to do it. Now, my friends, we come to number 5. Okay. Well, we've done 5. And printing a listing of the entire table. The table has so much stuff in it that we could do it, but it's just going to be an unwieldy mess. Okay? And I just don't see the point. Now, on number 6, Delgado is traveling. This is page 152, task 6. Delgado's traveling to Kansas City to meet Jack Stelmeyer at Martin Mechanics and wants to know what her other clients in Kansas City. Create a query and then print a listing of all clients in Kansas City. The list should only include these fields: company, client first and last names, and title. All right, now we're going to do a query. Okay, so click Create, Query Design, and we're going to get the Northampton table. Add it. Okay. And they want these fields. They want the company, client first and last names, and title. We didn't add title, skip that, but we do want the city. See, now the authors throw us a little bit because they don't ask us to include the city, but we're going to do that. And down here on this line called criteria, we're going to put Kansas City. What that says, well, looks like something from the Children of the Corn. That we only want those people who are in Kansas City. So let's run this query, and there it is. Now, you'll notice something. It's kind of redundant because you see Kansas City, Kansas City, Kansas City. If you're from there and you love the town, this may be your moment of triumph. I don't know. But we can do something here to go down to the design view, and we're going to do that. We're going to suppress it. Now, we're not killing off the data, but watch what happens when I go back up here. It's eliminated. Say, okay, well, how do I know it's Kansas City? Simple. I'm going to save it as Kansas City clients. underscore city underscore clients. Voila. And now these are my Kansas City clients. Now, I'm going to close this off, and we're going to generate a report. We'll click Create, Report Wizard, and we're going to look for table. We're going to find the query, Kansas City clients, and we want everything. Next. And we don't need to do any grouping. And we'll click OK. And we'll put the company name in ascending order, alphabetical order. Go, okay, okay, and boom. And there is our list. Now, you say, that's wonderful, but you don't really have any talking points. Well, you're right. So we're going to go back to the layout view. Okay, now I'm going to do something right here, company. I'm going to draw this back. General Electric, I'm going to move this on back. First name, I'll move on over here. I was saying this a little bit. It's a little bit tedious. And then we got their last name. I'm going to move them all over here. You said, are you getting ready to add another field, Dr. Harmon? Yes, I am. And I'm going to click here, add existing fields. And we get the fields available for this view. It says show all tables. And Northampton case 1, I want the order pattern. And it superimposes over this, which is okay. We'll get that out of the way. And there's our order pattern. Now, we'll close that off, and we'll make this look pretty, look home, and then we will align them all. Now, we got the order pattern because we want to know what's going on with these people, because we have a list of our clients. Now, I added in here, I improvised, so we had a little bit more information in terms of the pattern of their orders. That gives us a talking point, if you will. So we'll close this off. That's the Kansas City clients. And we've done number 6. Now, on number 7, okay, the authors say, tell us, how can we handle General Electric purchases products from the following product groups? Find a way to incorporate the extra information. And there we would go into, in our product group table, okay? And we'll open this up. And in the product group, we got product and product group description. Then we can just add the products themselves, product, blah, blah, blah. And over in Northampton, in the table, we could go ahead and we'll open that up, and we could add product ordered. Okay, so, but we've already made some improvements. We added an input mask on zip code. We added a lookup table for the product group. We did a lookup table for the order pattern. So we've done quite a bit there with number 7. And that, my friends, would be Northampton number 1. So I'm going to go back and save the database as it's access case 1. And we'll close it off. And let's see if I can find it. There it is. Now, I'm going to come over here. Now, I want to point something out to you. We just did access case number 1. And I have some other solution files. As I do these, you're going to see I might have some additional solution files just because, you know, I want to. Now, here's something with Northampton with data in it. Let's look at it for just a minute. And that may be product group information, I'm not sure. Oh, that's it. That's the top populated table. No big deal there. Let's see if I have anything listed here. Now, I do have a file, okay, that has all the solutions, which I've done. And let me find this here. It's Solve It 6.1 Solutions zip. I'm not all that hot and bothered about it. When I choose to do it and just open it up and walk us through, I'll do that. But I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to upload this file, access case 1. And I'm going to open it up for just a second, see if this is everything I wanted. There's my products. And I'm just making sure I've got the, yep. And then I'd added in the order pattern. Okay, good. So on access case 1, and it should be up here. And access case 1, and I'm going to publish it. Okay, and that's what you'll upload. Okay, now I'm going to come back over here to the modules. And I'm going to come down here to week 6, and I'm going to add this, and I'm going to add file, and I'm going to find access case 1. I'm going to add the item. Let's see if that's the one I called it. Holy moly. Boy, I got a lot of stuff on my desktop. And let me go back up here for a moment. No, that's not the one I want. We'll go back over here for a minute to the module. And I'm going to remove it. And I'm going to go back down into the files. Here it is. That's the one I want. Yep. So let's go back over to the module. And I'm going to add a file, and it will be access case 1. There it is. And then I'm going to edit this access 1. Okay, and I'll update that, and it's going to say access case 1, ACCDB, upload this for access case 1 assignment. Okay, and it's published and it's there, ready and waiting for you. Well, you can see, as I told you, it's going to be a slow go. So we're probably, week by week, we'll probably start a case, okay, and stop. I like to go an hour to an hour and a half and then stop and then come back and do the second chunk of the 3 hours. So you get the full 150 minutes, but we do it and we chunk it out, okay? So this will be for access case number 1. Now, I'm going to stop sharing here and stop this recording and post it in the announcements, and I'll see you next week.